All right. Bam. Sunday night chat. I left you guys hanging last week. I was not in the mood. There was too much going on, man. I just was not. I tried to fire a client last week before. Yeah, not this past week, the week before. I couldn't take it anymore. There's too much going on over there. A lot going on at the house. There was a pace. There's just a lot of stuff going on. You guys don't need to hear all of it. And I finished up this thing. I trimmed out that skylight. And I told my client, I said, hey, you won't see me for a while. And she was upset, I guess. And so last Saturday, she called me. And she's like, what's the problem? And we hashed it all out. And it's good. We came to an understanding. She definitely wants me back. And she wants me to do a lot more over there at the house. There's a huge list of things. It's an old house. You know, when you own a house, it just constantly needs work. It's not a house that doesn't need work, unless it's a brand new house. This house happens to be 100 years old. And where I come from, all the houses were old. You know, so I'm used to, that's how I learned. I built new homes from the ground up, and I've done a lot of home improvement work. At any rate, yeah, so she called me last Saturday, and we had this long conversation. And at first, I didn't even really want to talk to her about it, but I owed it to her. You know, we've become good friends. I've been doing work for her for, you know, a couple of years straight. And, yeah, she got it out of me, finally. I was perfectly happy just to walk away, but I'll be back over there. I'll be doing some more stuff over there. In the meantime, I'm doing some work right now for my friend Kirgy. You guys have heard me mention her before. She's super cool, and that's what I'm working on now. I'm also doing all my craft work and everything else, but I gotta tell you, this week, I didn't sleep this week. I wasn't in a great mood. You can probably see it on my face. This is lemon water. Lemon water, it's a juice of one lemon, water, honey, some ginger, and some cinnamon. That's it. No more booze. I haven't, well, hang on a second. I had a drink last night, which led to a second drink. But my drinks are so tall, it was really more like 4 drinks. And the reason I did it was, so I'm a little hungover today, I suppose. But the reason I did it was I didn't sleep for 2-3 nights in a row. I didn't know what the hell was going on. There was a lot of tossing and turning. I just could not couldn't relax. Come to find out, we didn't have any internet one day here. And then I understood, I looked at my stuff and it's like, oh, we're having these solar flares, these solar storms going off. And so the northern lights, you could see them all the way down here in Southern California. I had no idea. Well, at least in Joshua Tree. I have a friend, Joshua Tree. She took amazing pictures. If I had known that we would see the northern lights in Joshua Tree, I would have driven out there. Also, up in the Sierra Nevadas, people are taking Lake Tahoe. Amazing. It's like, you know, once in 100-year kind of a thing. And it made me think, because I have this, if you don't know, I have a bit of a survivalist mentality, right? I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not scared. But the main reasons I'm not scared is because I'm pretty well prepared. I'm not as well prepared as some people. There's some people they live this entire life preparing for it to end violently. Which I don't see that as a way to live, but fine. If you want to have property and put a bunker under the ground and grow your own food and do all that stuff, I support that, because if you look at it in a healthy way, it also helps you be totally self-sufficient. You can live off the grid for the most part, participate in it as much as you choose to, but it's a healthy way to kind of live, I suppose. And if things do go sideways, you're pretty well prepared. It makes sense. Being in a city, if something pops off, is not good. Having said that, I want to throw something out at you. Some of you guys might not be too privy to this, and those of you who aren't may roll your eyeballs and think I'm full of it and whatever, but that's fine. We know, and we know this through geology, we also know it through mythology, you know, stories passed down generationally, going way back, and fossil records, all these things. And it's actually supported too by findings we've had in the last 12 years or so, ancient sites. There's this 12,000 year cycle. It's 12,000 years, 24,000 years, 36,000 years, you know. The Earth is rotating around, is spinning around the sun here. All the planets are. But at the same time, our whole solar system is also doing this kooky spinning around in our galaxy. And it's moving around. And every 12,000, 24,000, 36,000 years, we come in contact with something, or we go past something, or the forces of which are being put upon the Earth that make things happen on the planet that creates havoc. I'm doing this in layman's terms here. That kills off a lot of life on the planet. And it's a cycle. It repeats itself consistently. At the same time, this solar flare thing is really important because sun's activity is 100% the number one driver of temperature on the planet. It's not man-made global warming or anything else. It's sun activity. And we know this because there's been a correlation, I think going back as far as the 1500s, where people have been staring at the sun, through filters, on telescopes, and mapping solar storms. You can look this up. It's the Maunder minimum. I think it's Maunder is the name of the guy who came up with this, but I could be pronouncing it wrong. It's Maunder minimum, Maunder maximum. And during the maximum, that's when the planet is warmer. Keep in mind, our solar system, all the planets work look, if it's a half a degree warmer here on Earth, it's a half a degree warmer on Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Uranus, Saturn, all of them. So the sun is responsible for the temperature on the planet, period. It's not us, what we're doing. Just so you know that, because it's something that they're not teaching people anymore or something. But that's the thing. And so, yeah. Now, this thing with these solar flares directly aimed at the Earth, it's pretty fascinating what's going on. And something else I think is happening. I don't hear anybody else talking about it, but I was talking to my friend, and she's a California kid, born and raised here, been in the same part of this city all these years. And she and I were talking about it yesterday, how I've been in this apartment for 30 years. And it seems to me that I'm noticing all the seasons pushing further. It seems like summer lasts longer. It seems like winter lasts longer. It seems like our months are not lining up with the seasons the way that they did 30 years ago, to me, if you're paying attention. Do you feel that too? I'm real curious about what you guys are finding with that. So something's happening with the Earth, and it's wobbling on an axis, and there's a lot going on. And there's this place called Göbekli Tepe. I think it was discovered about 12 years ago or so, at least unearthed, unexcavated. It was purposefully buried. It's in Turkey. It's just one little spot in this area that's been excavated, but there's a lot of other ones just like it in the area that haven't been touched yet. And there are these kind of T-shaped stones that have these relief carvings, meaning it's not carved into, but it's on the outside of all these animals. And they think they figured this out, where they're saying that the animals represent the constellations in the sky, and it's a warning that when the sky has these constellations in these areas, in these particular seasons, bad things happen to the planet. And we are actually in that spot right now. So I think it's pretty, I was going to use a word like evident or certain. I'm just guessing, really. But it seems to me, I feel, and I could be wrong, and let's hope I am, that we're going to experience something on the planet right now. And I think we are experiencing it right now. I think we're being lied to about what's causing it. Your SUV or your classic car, or burning garbage in your backyard, or using a wood-burning stove. I don't think any of that has anything to do with it. I think it's the natural, cyclical nature of what's going on. I think that they're trying to blame it on us to take away from the reality so that they don't have some sort of panic. Meanwhile, super rich people that are connected, rich, powerful people are building these, multi-million-dollar bunkers all over the planet. This is happening. Look it up. So, this is not a doomsday, woe is me kind of thing. I mean, to be honest with you, if they were to tell us that this is going to happen, we're going to get to this point and, we're going to collide with something, or there's going to be this massive meteor storm or an asteroid's coming. 2036, there is one coming. It's going to be very close to the Earth that could take us out, or at least get pretty close enough to screw up things. It happens to be the year I'll be 69, and that's the year the Ouija board told me I would die when I was 9 years old. Just throwing that out there. Which is 12 years from now, right? 12 years. So, here's the thing. I'll be old enough at that point where I probably won't care all that much. Having said that, if they told me this was going to happen next month, would I try to get underground and be safe somewhere? I don't know, man. Think about it. Like, a lot of the people that are wealthy enough to afford bunkers and all that are kind of like assholes. Like, if they live, I don't want to be living around with those people. If they're the only people that survive, we're screwed. Imagine if you survive and, like 2/3 of the population on the planet is wiped out. And then, but you make it somehow. And then eventually all these super wealthy assholes come out of their bunkers and they start telling you what to do. Yeah. What? How well is that going to work? They're going to try to keep everything going the way they had it going before everybody died. You get to be like, screw you, man. It's crazy. Which is funny because the Georgia Guidestones got taken down, last year? I did a video on it. This is not what this video was going to be about. This is crazy. I had no idea I was going to start talking about today, and here I am just rambling already. Wild. So the Georgia Guidestones, really, if you went there was a whole thing, told you what they were about, what they did. It was rules to live by, and the idea was when, because it's going to happen, when the next event that takes place happens, the idea for the Georgia Guidestones was the survivors would eventually stumble upon them and be like, well, here's a good way to live. We should live by these rules, generally speaking. It called for a world population of, keeping under 500 million or something like that, which is ridiculous, I know. But I don't know that that's worldwide. It might have said that on there. I have a whole picture folder on my Facebook page when I visited that, I think in 2011. People took that to mean that whoever put it up was calling for the death of the majority of the people on the planet. But it doesn't say that. It doesn't say kill everybody else off. It says keep population here. The inference is everybody's already been wiped out. People stumble upon this. Here's how we could live. And there was a lot of built-in math there for this. It was interesting. And people blew it up, took it down. Probably the people who want to go down in their bunkers, survive something, and then after it passes, come back up and keep you under their thumb. That's my thinking on that. I could be wrong. Doesn't really matter. I don't know. So, having said all of that, my mindset is having all this stuff because you just never know. Things could go crazy. We could just have an EMP. Like these these solar storms could be, if they're strong enough, an electromagnetic pulse, which would knock out electricity and create all kinds of havoc. And it's happened before. I think 2005, 2007, Quebec went down. I know around that time, before or after, New York City went down. I think New York City's gone down a couple times from that in my lifetime. In the 1860s, 70s, somewhere in there, it was so powerful that it created wildfires, fires all across North America. It burnt up all the telegraph lines. Something that powerful absolutely can happen. It will happen again. It has happened. So if that were to happen now, we would be in a really bad place. And we'd all have to get along, figure that out, and try to survive. But a lot of people would just die because, without power, we've got problems, So my thinking on it is it's not I don't think that I'm so well prepared that no matter what happens, I'm absolutely going to survive. Either I will or I won't. If some crazy thing happens that doesn't kill me initially, and I survive that, then it's my own choice. If I want to survive, I'm going to friggin' survive. If I want to live through chaos and craziness, I will friggin' do it, because I know I'm capable of doing what needs to be done to survive. I know most people aren't capable of that. So that's just the thing. And I think that's what's going on behind the scenes inside my mind with, I like having knives with firearms and making actually we could talk about that, because a couple things happen here with the holsters I've been doing, which, the idea for the holster, this is not something you would wear around right now. If you have a CCW, which is a concealed carry weapons permit, in a lot of states you can carry a weapon. In some states you don't even need a permit. Some states you can carry, but you have to open carry. Everything's different everywhere. It shouldn't be. It should all be the same. But that's how it is. But these things that I'm making are not designed for you to be like walking around the city with. They're more the sort of thing you would wear if you were hiking in the forest or you're hunting. And separate from that, you think of like the Mad Max movies, right? Or I think Denzel Washington's done a couple of these post-apocalyptic style films, and we see it all the time, and it's kind of like preparing us mentally for something to go bad, right? And in that scenario, you absolutely could wear one of these around because it wouldn't matter. And on that note, you guys might remember I've been making these holsters. Check this out. I found this on eBay, and I was able to get a deal for $20, and this holds 4 magazines in it. And I think that's pretty cool. So that's a neat thing. And what I did this past week, I haven't done any stitching because I'm trying to figure this out. You guys might remember I talked about how I want to do something on the back side of the holster that allows me to have these 2 contact points to wear it the way you just saw it over my shoulder. But I also want to have something here to slide it through a belt. This way, if you needed to or you wanted to, you could wear it on a belt. Let's say you needed to use this strap for something, you could wear this on your belt. Or you could take this off and rig it with a buckle and wear it as a belt. So what I did was I started researching around, and this is really wild. Thank you, subscribers, those of you who call me and send me stuff and all of that. I've got this one guy, Jim. Thanks, Jim. You know who you are. He sent me a couple watches. He sent me knives. He sent me all kinds of fun stuff. And he sent me a box with a bunch of holsters in it. And a couple of these mag pouches, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty certain these are repops. They do say 1942 on the back of them, but the snaps are not GI issues. So I'm pretty certain these are repops. And he sent me this is more like the World War I style belt-mounted 1911 holster. That's pretty neat. He sent me some adapters to work with the Molly 2 stuff, which is pretty cool. I think this might be a Tokarov holster here. Not sure. But he sent me this one. And I was looking at one of these. The reason I was looking at it was because of this. Now, the one I was looking at, instead of having this patch back here, it's got 2 straps sewn here and here, here and here. You put the belt through it. But the neat thing was at the top of those straps, there were 2 little buckles, and then there was a leather strap. So you can wear it as a cross draw down low, or you can wear it on a belt. And I was looking at that, and I made a template for myself that would work like this here. On the back of the holster, I'd be able to loop this around and put a buckle here, and loop this around and put a buckle there, and stitch here, stitch across there, and I'd be able to put the belt through that piece. But then I thought maybe just the strips would be better. And I haven't been able to make my mind up with that, but it was very nice of Jim to send this to me because it gave me like something to really stare at and handle in my hands and really see and understand that the strap only needs to be here. It doesn't need to come out to here. But I was playing with all that, and then what happened was I went ahead and wet molded for the first time ever. And the first one was this here. Matter of fact, hang on. I'm going to go ahead and insert a short video, and a couple snapshots. Can you guess? Can you guess what's going on here? It hasn't been in there that long, but this is my first attempt at wet molding for a sheath. It's probably been in here for about an hour. I wet the leather down with some warm water. I wrapped the pistol in some plastic, and I clamped it up this way. The ball and the stick are just an attempt to push the leather down around the pistol a little bit more. This isn't super high density foam. This is exactly the foam that you get in packaging. And I wanted to eyeball it now and just see what's happening. If I mess it up, I can always re-wet the leather and do it again, I think. So, real time. Let's see how this thing looks. I wanted to put it on a flat surface, the idea being I wanted to keep this as flat as possible. I wanted to mold it down around here, just exactly as you see it. Look at that, man. This is actually look like it's going to be fine. So, this is for the 357, which will sit in a little bit more. Excuse me. I kind of made a bit of a mistake when I cut this. I probably should have cut this a little bit fuller in here. But I don't mind it. This is just for me. It's a prototype, and you can understand how this works. The pistol can slide down a little bit more in here. That'll work. And I'm going to do a I'm going to do a stitch, double stitch here, tight. Then I'm going to wrap it in here. I'm going to pick a point right here where I'm going to stitch it. And it'll look very similar to the 1911 holster. Of course, I'll be putting the snap catch in here. And then on this back side, I'm working out a way to... I made one piece that comes up. It's a kooky looking piece. Let me get that for you. So I cut this piece here out, and you should be able to kind of understand what's happening. It's cut on this angle because I know I'm going to have to stitch through here. It's going to come down like this. It's going to come over and come down. I'm hoping to avoid having to stitch through this and these two layers here when I stitch this all together here. This will fold over. There'll be a D-ring in there. This will fold over. There will be a D-ring in there. And it's going to be stitched across here. It's going to be stitched across here. And you get a 2-inch belt through here. So again, you'll be able to wear this as a shoulder holster as it's designed to be, or you will pass a belt through here and wear this on your hip. That's kind of the idea. So I think I might clamp this back up. You can see how it's drying. I think I'm going to clamp it back up and leave it clamped up for a little while longer. Let this leather fully cure with this in this shape. And then it's going to be easier for me to work everything and put all my marks because it won't be fighting me. The first one I did, the leather fought me the whole way. So right now I can see that that's not going to happen here. And by the way, just figured you guys might dig on this. This is a cutting board. I made a series of these for somebody. I made this one here for myself out of scrap. And I've got this really cool full tang Damascus steel bone-handled knife. Fits in there perfect. Kind of cool. Okay, so you see what's going on there. So this one here is for my 38. Excuse me, my 357 Magnum. This is the Performance Center Smith & Wesson beautiful combat revolver. Look at that. Look at that. So now I can go ahead and I can open this up. I can wet this down again if I want it to be pliable. But now I can go ahead and I know I can stitch whatever I want to do here. I know how to orient this now on the back side of this thing so that it'll work. And I know that I have to avoid the stitching that goes here. There's a lot going on here. You don't have to understand all of it. But I'm excited about that. And then I just went ahead and look at that. Really cool. And then I went ahead today and I wet molded it with the 1911, and you can see this one here. I got more coverage. The sight, everything totally fits in there. And you can see here that this is going to work out really well with that system back here. It's going to be cool. Wrap the weapon in plastic because the leather's wet, and you're golden. So, you know, I started off talking about what I was talking about with the planet, and it just makes sense. Like, it's logically makes sense. I'm the kind of guy, if I'm thinking about that stuff, I'm thinking about this stuff too. And I think that there's a bunch of you follow me that have the same kind of mindset. And that's why so many have been contacting me saying that they want these holsters. I've just been a little slow getting to it because I've been a little wore out and dealing with people, a lot of stuff going on, work, trying to make enough money to cover my bills and figure things out. You know, life, man. This is not a woe is me thing. We're all going through the same stuff. So once I figure this out, I don't want to make any mistakes here. This stuff isn't inexpensive, all these materials. But now that I've kind of got it relatively nailed, I'll be able to lay this out. And then in the future, I can make these faster. Because right now it's taking too long. I made that press for the leather, that arbor press. I made it work so I could use the pricking iron in it. And I haven't even used it yet. I haven't done any leather work other than this part of it. I haven't done any leather, any hand stitching, nothing. Just been thinking about it. So I'm at the point now where I think I got it pretty good. And so maybe this week, a couple nights, I'll put some time into it and start stitching this stuff together. See how this works out. But that's going to be really neat. And I'm kind of happy about it. So I also got a call from a guy this week that he absolutely wants to buy one of these, and super tight budget. I might be willing to sell him my prototype on the cheap, but I think these things, once they're done and they're done right, the straps on and everything else shipped, I think it's going to be closer to about $400 just because of the amount of time. And you're probably like balking at that, and that's crazy. But if you start looking at custom holsters and what people get, they get a lot more money than that. Of course, they put a lot more work into them. There's a lot more tooling and all that involved. I don't care so much about that. It should have the logo burned into this and everything else. We'll see how that goes. But that's what I'm thinking for now. Not for everybody. I get it. On another note, when it comes to me making cool stuff, I spoke with a woman this past week. I really like her. She's super cool, and she's a seamstress for a big clothing brand. She's also one of their managers, and she went to school for fashion, and apparently she's a wizard. You know, she can draw up her own clothing, figure it all out, make a pattern, do all that stuff. That's what she does for a living. It's what she enjoys doing. She's the type of person who likes sitting at that machine and making it happen. So this has been something in the works for a long time. Those other caps that I've been wearing and all that. I've got a pullover. There's a lot of things that I've got that I've sketched out design ideas for. And I think I'm going to do like this sounds grandiose, but it'll be short runs of product. It's Mike Z Design Workwear. You know, there's a work jacket, a pullover work shirt, the caps, possibly a pair of work trousers. And there's going to be some really interesting details put into them that you don't typically see. It won't be cheap, obviously. It'll be more high-end. It'll be for the types of people that want that sort of thing. And it'll be made well enough to last a very, very long time. And including my aprons. So I made a couple aprons, or I designed a couple aprons. I had somebody make me, boy, probably 4 or 5 years ago now. I got these 2 aprons from this woman. Sweetheart of a lady. And after wearing them and using them for the last 4 or 5 years, they're perfect, but, well, they're close to perfect. I know a couple of things I want to change about them and add a couple details, change a little bit, and I'm going to make those available as well. And I think we're going to go with like a waxed canvas maybe. Now, what I might do is make them out of like a canvas material and then turn that into tin cloth. Like there's a process you could do with, I think it's paraffin wax. You dip the material. You guys know, you can look that up. But it's going to be a nice heavy duty but lightweight purpose-made apron, mostly for woodworkers, but it'll cover almost any trade where you need to wear an apron. When I made those aprons, there wasn't a lot of that out there. Pretty funny. I started looking at Apron videos again this past week, and a lot of people have done it. That Adam Savage guy has made an apron. There's a lot of people out there that have made aprons. I have a theory on it. I've been wearing an apron all day long, every day, for decades. I know what it needs to do. I know how it needs to perform. And in a wood shop with dust coming back at you and all of that, I've solved that issue with dust getting in your pockets and everything. And just the way that it hangs on your body, it's all about comfort. Comfort and function. It's functional art is what it is. And so I'm going to do that too. Why not? So next month, well, in the next few weeks, we're going to get together. We're going to go downtown. We're going to get some material. We're going to work some of this out. I'm going to design these things. I'm going to work with this lady, and she's willing to make the prototypes and patterns for it. And if we could work something out, I mean, obviously I'll pay her. And if we could work something out to where she can maybe do short runs, if she's got the time for that, that would be wonderful. Because maybe we'll do a run of 10 or 20 of a particular item, and I'll make it available to you. The other thing that's going to happen is I'm finally also going to get some t-shirts done. I should have been doing Astro Van Tribe t-shirts years ago. I just don't make it a priority. And my buddy Tick over in the Valley, he's a silkscreen artist, graphic artist, all that. And he's done t-shirts before. When you see me wear that Clunker t-shirt, the bicycle on it, that's one of his shirts. So we were talking about that the other day, and I've silkscreened before. It's been a long time, but he was like, dude, I'll make you a screen, walk you through it, which I already know, but I could basically do them right here in my kitchen. I could put a t-shirt down, set it up, run that, one color thing and set them there. It'd be kind of fun. And those would be really unique, one-off, hand-done by me t-shirts. So it's taking it to another level, but I think that'd be cooler for you guys, right? If it's something that I feel like I can't keep up with, maybe I'll do one of those, what is it, Spring Tea or something? There are these sites online that a lot of people use. You don't make as much money on it personally. You get a percentage of it. But I might have to do that at some point. If you're in this business, by the way, if you know more than I do, anybody who's, probably everybody watching this knows more about this than I do. I've never had a t-shirt made that I can recall. So that's all coming too. But just going off on another tangent. I'm just saying, as far as like what's happening with the world and the planet, and I did a video this week, talking about the situation over there in the Middle East with Israel and all that, and what I think about that. I wasn't sure how that would get received. I only had, I think, 2 or 3 people in all those comments give me a little bit of a hard time. Pretty much everybody else just thought it was common sense. I think that's, when I watched it again, I only watched it once, but it seemed like, I just feel like I'm making sense here. Doesn't sound too crazy. But there's just too much bullshit out there. We're being lied to about everything. We're being misdirected. We're told one thing, it's a lie, it's another thing. It's a crazy time right now. And when I watch more of the leftist leaning stuff like MSNBC, CNN, which I watch it all week long. I'll watch some of that. And I read the comments there. It's such a polarizing place to be, because the people that don't like Trump and are, they say all these ridiculous things. None of it's supported by reality, and they ignore all the problems that are going on with Biden. That's a thing for me. But the other thing is you can't deny where we're at with the economy unless you're just stupid or you refuse to accept what you're seeing. Because we've been paying over $5 a gallon here in Los Angeles for quite some time. Every time I put gas in my van, and it's not like I'm on empty, it's $100 every time. Every time I go shopping, it's way more money than it was several years ago. I don't know how, I'm barely holding on right now. And it's not like I'm supporting anybody else but myself. I don't have any kids, thank God. to take care. I don't know how you are doing it. If you've got young kids in the house, especially if you're like a single parent, how are you surviving, man? This is a crazy time to be living, especially in this state run by this idiot who's just making everything worse. We're really in a weird time, man. I don't know how this is all going to shake out. I don't know how much longer. I'm watching things. When I see things that make me feel hopeful, I am, but I'm cautiously optimistic at this point. After that last election, I don't trust anything. It's hard for me to believe, the guy who's the president now got 81 million, like more votes than any president in the history. And then he's got like 30% approval rating or something right now. How do you go from the most to the least ever at this point in the presidency? So we were lied to. That the way that shook out was not right, wasn't accurate. And some of you are like, oh, one of those people, you're one of those January 6th people. Better be a January 6th person than an October 7th person. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. It's nuts. I don't trust any of it anymore, and I don't like that I'm in that headspace. It's a bummer. It's not something I try to think about very often. I don't really watch. I said I watch these things. I'm watching little clips and short interviews on YouTube. I'm not watching the news on the TV. So I watch it when I feel like watching it, and that's about it. It's enough to kind of keep abreast of what's going on without getting too mired down in any particular topic. You run the risk of, if you're following any of these, because all it is drama. They know you're addicted to drama. So they want to keep you in it. This is now, this is happening now. And you can see it in the feed. I could see it in my YouTube feed. And the titles of these videos and the way that they're trying to manipulate us and get us upset and keep us on edge and get on us, follow a certain tribe, and be part of that. It's crazy and nonsense, but it's a weird time. This is just a weird moment in time. I'm not fearful. I'm just kind of slightly concerned. At the same time, I'm just going to keep living my life. For those that didn't know, you keep asking. I got people hitting me up about, go to Arizona. You got that house in Arizona. My sister has been living in that house with her kids and a dog and a cat and a fish and a turtle. And she has a daughter that lives there who just had a baby a couple months ago. So she wanted to come out for that and decided to move there. So she's going through this process that she has to go through, and she has to find a place and everything. And so being her brother and having the house, it's like, well, obviously I'm going to let her stay at the house. Why wouldn't I do that? It's family. You got to do the right thing, right? So it's been fine. It's actually good to have somebody at the house. And things are turning a corner for her right now. And so she's in a position now where she's looking to get a place. She's looking for a job. She's homeschooling her daughter. So she needs like a part-time gig or nighttime gig or something like that. And she happens to be in the Sierra Vista area. So if anybody knows of anything she could do there, feel free to put it down in the comments down there. I'd like to help her out if I can. But things have turned, like I said, and she's looking for a place right now. So she probably won't be in the house very much longer, which means pretty soon you'll start seeing me getting out there again. And once I start getting out there, I've got a ton of plans to change the property around, take down more plants, plant more stuff. I want to do what's called the secret survival garden around that whole property. Turns out that one of the trees in the backyard is a mulberry tree. First time ever it fruited. It was kind of bushy all these years, and years ago I started trimming it at the base, trying to get it to come up. It was too many smaller trunks, so I trimmed this all away, and I got it growing up, and for the first time ever it fruited. She sent me pictures. I had no idea. I suspected it was some kind of berry or fruit tree, even though it never produced anything, but now it is. So really excited about that, because if you don't know, you should look this up, the secret survival garden. Keeping along this theme of being prepared in case something bad happens, most people garden these days like a garden, right? Like you would think. The problem with that is if you're concerned about people knowing what you have, If somebody goes by, drives by, looks into, they see a garden, they know you're prepared, you got food, you might have other stuff. Versus the secret survival garden, which is really fascinating. What you're doing with this is you're basically creating a whole ecosystem on your property. And you don't need a lot of room to do this either. Generally speaking, it revolves around a central tree that produces something that's edible. Everything's edible. Everything's edible. But the central tree could be a nut tree, fruit tree, berry tree. So it could be apple, pear, peach, citrus, whatever. And if you think about it as concentric rings, it doesn't have to be circle, just for you to visualize. As you step away, things step down. So you go from a tree to shrubs to bushes to smaller things, herbs and that nature, things like that. And the beauty of it is, once you plant things that work in a symbiotic relationship with one another, and these plants bring all the proper animals and insects and whatnot to come to help fertilize one another and take care of everybody else. You don't really have to do anything. You go out there, you cut stuff back, and you pick food. That's about it. And to anybody walking by, at a glance, from a distance, it just looks like an overgrown area, overgrown yard. So it's not screaming, this is a garden and I'm prepared. So it's kind of a smart thing to do. It's interesting to me that people have yards. A lot of you watching me right now, you have a house and you have a yard, and you have trees and shrubs and bushes and things on your yard, and nothing is edible. Why would you even, plant plants that produce food? Pretty easy thing to do. Look at your area. There's a number system. You can look at where you live and you know what you can grow. My plan is to do some fun stuff. I do want to do avocado trees. I do want to do blueberries. I want to grow some strawberries. I want to grow a bunch of healthy stuff, fruits and vegetables. So that's going to happen at the house in Arizona. I'm real excited about that. Hopefully I can get that stuff done in case the shit does hit the fan. Go there and chill out, man. It wouldn't be such a bad place to be. So, I don't know, man. I don't think I need to say much more. This was just more like nothing crazy in this video. I just wanted to say hi again. Sorry about missing last week. This is what's happening now. I'm a little run down, a little tired, but things are going to be up on an uptick this week. I'm going to be doing this project for my friend Kurgi. And there's other things going on in my brain right now. Getting away from that other client was a big deal. It was just too much because of the setup there with people in and out of the house, a certain person staying at the house now, the kids. My client being so busy, I wasn't able to communicate with her on a regular basis like I had grown accustomed to. It was making and not getting paid when I needed to get paid. Like if I did this work for you this week, I need to get paid right now. It's Friday. Give me a check or give me cash or whatever. And it was going to somebody else who was paying me. That could take days to get me a check. It would take days for the check to get here. It could take days for it to clear. I wasn't getting paid sometimes for 2 weeks after I did something. So that was a serious problem. That's not going to happen anymore. But the communication, all these things, trying to work around that schedule and those people, it was making every little job I did there drag out and take longer than it needed to. So I couldn't free up my mind and do anything else for myself. And before I took that job a couple of years ago, I would take a job and get it done for somebody. And then when I didn't have a gig where I could work something out to get paid, then I was in the shop and I was building cool bikes, or I don't even remember what the hell I was doing anymore. Maybe I'd make an art piece and sell that. I just hustle, man. I'm always making cool stuff. As you guys know, I'm doing the watch bands now and this stuff. I have more things now I can do to generate income, and all that stuff's going to happen. It's funny how getting away from her for just a week, not her like her as a person, I mean that project and that the way that was happening, just freeing myself from that has got me more. Now, the only reason things that haven't been as good as they could be, I think, is these solar storms, because I do think it's been, I don't know how you guys feel. I'll tell you something I've noticed for like 4 days now in LA. It's a lot quieter here. There's been less people driving around on the roads. I can usually hear Melrose right here. This time of day, I don't hear anything. There has been more sirens, though. I don't know if we've heard any since I've been on this video, but all day today has been sirens and helicopters. We hit a quiet patch. So I'm guessing, I'm imagining, I don't know, that other people are being affected by this. My friend Kurgi hasn't been able to sleep all week. My buddy Chad, same thing. I talked to him today for 3 friggin' hours. Holy cow. Talked to Chad, talked to Kurgi, talked to another friend of mine. And the amount of time I spend on the phone sometimes, it's hard to get anything done. So on one hand, freeing myself from that gig made me get more active with these other things. But then this stuff that's coming from the sun has messed with my head to the point where I couldn't sleep. So I haven't had the energy that I need. So hopefully that's going to subside soon. And I'm going to start getting these things done. There's a bunch of fun stuff. You guys will feel about it. But for my friend, she's really stoked. I went over to her house last week, spent half a day there, and knocked out. And I didn't charge her because we're friends for this. We're just, man stuff. She just needs a man in the house. Can you hang this for me? Can you do this? Can you fix this? Can you arrange that? Can you carry this? Can you lift this? Yeah, did all that. No problem. Now I'm doing projects for her, and some of the stuff I'm going to do for her is going to make her so happy. Imagine you've been thinking about getting something done for months or years, and then somebody comes into your life and gets it done for you. Just give them the money. You're just happy, right? And that's my thing. I like making people happy. That's what keeps me going. So making her happy makes me happy, and it's good. But in between that, I now have the energy, and I didn't have the energy this week because of the sun stuff. But, my brain is free enough now to where I'm actually able to start thinking about getting these other things done. So it's exciting. The point of this video, I suppose, is here's all this stuff. Think about this, the world, the planet, the cyclical nature of things and all that stuff. Be prepared. Be concerned, but don't let it wear you down too much. There's no point in worrying about anything. Worrying doesn't solve anything. Worrying is a huge waste of time. But you can be aware of it. You can be slightly concerned about it. The concern should drive you to do something that gives you some sort of peace of mind. Might not be a solution if something crazy happens, but doing something proactive for your own peace of mind is good for your mental health. Meaning, have a bug out bag. Have a car kit, in your vehicle. You should have a blanket in there, a long sleeve light shirt, an extra jacket, pair of comfortable shoes, some extra socks, some snacks, some water, some gloves, a hat, wide brim hat, maybe some sunscreen if you're the type of person to wear that, maybe a pair of work gloves. You should have a little kit together in your car because you never know what's going to happen when you're in your vehicle, if you might have to abandon it or walk somewhere. A good little backpack to have all that stuff in case you got to snatch that up and take it with you. Something to be thinking about. If you got a yard and you can grow some food, start planting some trees that produce some food, some bushes, something. Do you like blueberries? You like eating blueberries? How much do blueberries cost? If you had a couple blueberry bushes in your yard, they would be free. You know how much blueberry bushes cost? Not that much money. If you happen to live in an area where they will grow, why don't you just plant some blueberry bushes? Did you know that everything you buy, almost, some of this stuff is pretty exotic, and you may live in a climate that doesn't support that particular fruit or vegetable product. Having said that, huge percentage of the stuff that you're buying to eat in the store, you could literally be grown in your yard if you have a house. Let's say I've got something growing on my back porch finally. My buddy Chad gave it to me. It's a mint plant, but it's a lemon mint. I pull a leaf off and eat it. It's got lemon flavor. It is free. They make a chocolate mint. Did you know that? It's a leaf that tastes like chocolate and mint. I'm getting one of those next. So I'm already starting. If you got an apartment and you got a patio, I should have been doing this years ago, you can be growing all kinds of food right there. Hunting is a thing. This is another thing I'm excited about getting to Arizona. There's a lot of hunting in that area. And I'm friends with the guy I made the walnut table for. And he hunts every season, big game, small game, bow hunting, and rifle. So I grew up doing that. I haven't done it since I was a kid. I'm really excited about, even if I'm still living here, I got the house there. I can get a hunting license there when it's the right season, be like, hey man, you gonna hunt this? This guy hunts every day after work when it's the season. Every after work, he goes for a hike, hunt. That's what he does. And I would like to get back into that as well. Get a freezer, get meat. It's great. It's a lot healthier than the stuff you're buying in the store too. So just, it's something, start thinking about these things, dabble in it. I don't like fishing as much as I did when I was young, just because it bores me a little bit, just sitting there. You know, but you can fish. If I was going to fish for food, it wouldn't be that type of fishing. I would do a trout line or something, or fish traps, that sort of thing. Put a gill net up, that kind of thing. Because that's passive food that you could be getting if you're in that kind of area. And if it's allowed legally where you're at. But if we ever are in a scenario where it's more about just survival and the laws don't matter anymore, then it just doesn't matter anymore. Don't worry about it. I bring all these things up because learning how to hunt, getting into fishing, learning to, and excuse me, growing your own food, having the bug out bag, you know, being prepared, it just helps you sleep better at night. A lot of you are just concerned about all sorts of things, but then you don't do anything proactively to help your mental health about that particular thing, whatever it is. So just trying to help you turn a gear in your mind, be proactive, do these things. I was concerned going back to like 2008-ish, 2006-ish or something. I was kind of concerned about what was going on at that point in time. And I had everything, you know, I was pretty well prepared even mentally, but that's when I got more into like, you know what, I want to have an inch bag. I want to have a bug out bag. I want to have my shit together just in case something pops off. And I did it. And actually I turned it into a business. There's a page on Facebook called Los Angeles Urban Survival. I don't put very much effort into it anymore. That was just something to make it look like I was doing it. But with my clients, I made money with that. And in Los Angeles, it's a thing. So, and that was a fun time. I don't do it anymore, but basically I was a consultant. So I'd go to your house, you'd pay me X amount of money, and I'd walk through your house. I'd listen to you about what your concerns are, about whatever threat. You're concerned about an earthquake, you're concerned about an EMP, you're concerned about riots, that sort of thing. So I'd help you harden your house a bit. The technology is so much greater now with all the cameras everybody's got and everything else. But a camera's not going to stop somebody from throwing something through the window or kicking your door in and getting to you. You know, while they're cleaning up your dead body, they can look at the camera and see what that guy looked like, and he's probably got a mask on anyhow. So, camera doesn't stop anybody. But hardening your home, making it harder for somebody to kick a door in, that sort of thing. Showing you how to start a fire with a spark, you know, fun stuff like that. It was a good time. It was fun to do that. And the truth is, I really only did that maybe a dozen times. I'm too busy with other things to make money. If I would have focused on that, I probably would have been pretty good at doing that, making some decent coin out of it. But again, if you got a yard, grow something that you can eat. That'd be kind of smart. And firearms too. So I brought a bunch of people to the range, and I used to do this thing, and I call a familiarization course. It wasn't about training anybody to be, you know, a combat operator with any particular firearm. What it was I've got firearms. I own firearms. So I've got single action Army revolvers, right? Cowboy gun. I got double action revolvers. Got different types of semi-automatic pistols, different calibers, everything from, you know, 22 and 38, 9mm and 45 ACP, all that stuff. I've got different types of rifles and shotguns. You have pump shotgun, single action, fire, shock, break open, pull a hammer back, 12 gauge shotgun. Like I said, pump action. I've got, you know, different styles of rifles, everything from 22 to 308. And so the idea was, now the reason it didn't work out so well was you can give me enough money to make it fun for me and you can cover the ammo. But what it didn't cover was the time I had to put into cleaning those weapons at the end of the day, which really should have been part of the course, but I couldn't I can't take the time to look over your shoulder to clean a dozen firearms and make sure that everything went back the right way and all the parts didn't, you know what I mean? I can do it. I could break it down with my eyes closed, clean it, put it back together. But that was the thing. So I'd spent so much time cleaning the weapons that I realized very quickly, like, it's fun to do, it's good for people, but what's the benefit of it, you're asking yourself? Well, you don't know what is going to happen in this life. You don't know what you're going to stumble upon. Sometimes, you know, there could be a thing where some kid in the neighborhood says, hey, there's a gun in this bush. That has happened. That happens. Somebody finds a firearm. Well, if you went through some sort of familiarization course, even though maybe you're not a gun person, now you're going to know how to handle that gun properly, keep your booger hook off the trigger, know how to release a magazine or open a cylinder and unload that thing and make it safe. Check it, make sure it's cleared. You're going to know how to do that. That's key. Keep other people around you safe. That was kind of the impetus for me behind it. Or, you know, God forbid, there's some dangerous situation and you find yourself in a situation where you have to fight to survive and there happens to be a weapon there. Well, now you kind of have the rudimentary understanding of how that thing operates. And if you had to save your own life or a loved one's life, you know how to operate that firearm to take down a threat. That's what that was all about. That's it. And I will say, every woman I've ever brought to the range, most of whom have never fired weapons before, perform flawlessly. Women listen. You give them the breathing technique, you explain it. They literally do everything that you're telling them to do in that moment. And man, when they put rounds down range and they're hitting a target every single time, the look on there, and they've never done it before, the look on their face, the smiles, it's so cool. So that was always fun too. And of course, you know, ammo got expensive, ammo got scarce for a while, all of it. I don't shoot anymore. It's really funny, but I don't feel the need to. I've got the muscle memory. I know what I'm doing. I know that people say you have to train to keep up on it, but every time I'm out in the woods and I do it, it's still there. Pocket draw, everything that I do, the way I carry, the way I do things, I've still got it. You know, everything's still working. Everything's fine. When you do something hundreds and thousands of times, you don't forget it. You know, that's the key. By the way, you do something 100 times in a row, you got it. You know what? I'm going to leave you guys with that. It's probably been about an hour or so. Thanks for being here. I have to pick a topic next week and just talk about that. I guess I kind of did that this week. I don't know what the hell I'm going to call this one. But I do appreciate all of you. I'm glad that you're here. The motivation I get from the comment section of my videos is what keeps me doing it. You know, I had a little bit of a downer with this for about a week and a half or so, where I was kind of questioning why I'm doing it. You know, I look at my old videos and I'm unsatisfied with them. I'm like, why does anybody even watch some of this stuff? Like, they're pretty bad. You know, zero production value. You know what I'm saying? This is it. So there'll be some of that. And I do have to do some things to make you guys laugh. I've got some funny, real stories, man, and some funny bits. And I haven't done that. And maybe that's what's partially been bumming me out a bit. I haven't been laughing enough, even with myself. So with that, I'll let you go. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. I hope this video gets uploaded early enough to where some of you guys can catch this before it's too late on Sunday. This week, you'll see some videos coming from the shop, what I'm doing with this project. I had to make a change already, so I'll talk about that in the next video from the shop. And that's it for now. Again, thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Let's keep everything positive. Let's try to uplift one another and stay positive. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.